Alright, y'all. Give me a second with the camera. Uh, it's late at night. And I wasn't planning on streaming, but now I'm actually gonna stream. So, alright. Facade. Appreciate if any of y'all are tuning in here. I know how late it is, so I appreciate you guys checking in still. Um, 1 second, I'm trying to fix my camera, and then we'll be off and running very quickly, and then we're gonna call it a night. Bulls lose this one. It was ended up being pretty close in the end, but the Bulls were down by 17 during the third quarter, and a comeback almost happened, but in the end, it did not happen for the Bulls as they fall short. So a little bit disappointing, but I did not expect this Bulls team to win this one. So yeah. Couple of thoughts just to go right off the bat here. I appreciate you guys. I see Magugla. I appreciate you being here. It's late, man. So again, I really appreciate it. But Billy Donovan made some changes to the starting lineup in this game, which I actually thought were some pretty good changes. I would assume that Patrick Williams got benched, and Alex Caruso and Javonte Green started in place for them. And I thought that this was a pretty good idea. These two guys in your starting lineup, Caruso and Green, they lead the team in deflections. They're arguably your two best defenders. So I thought that this was a good move by Billy Donovan to get your two best defenders in the game and the two guys that you can kind of trust to disrupt the Warriors' offense a little bit. I thought overall it worked out better. The Bulls had a good offensive first quarter, which is something that we have not been able to say this entire season. But they had actually a good offensive quarter in the first quarter. So that was at least good. The second unit, though, Billy Donovan made a switch up by putting DeMar DeRozan back in the second unit instead of having Levine run the second unit. And I thought that was... I in general did not like that move. I still think Levine needs to run the second unit, and we saw why tonight. That second unit with DeRozan did not work out well. So I hope that changes moving forward. And then at that point, the Bulls, in that fourth quarter, at the end of the second quarter, the Bulls went on, or in the last minute, the Warriors went on an 8-0 run, and the Bulls just had bad play after bad play. Fouled Steph Curry, which we're going to get to in a second here, which I want to talk about. You fouled Steph Curry on a 3-point shot and ended up being a 4-point play. Zach LaVine picked up his fourth foul, which I don't think is honestly his fault. Donovan should have taken him out earlier, which I think coaching was kind of a big part of this game. And then the Bulls didn't get the rebound on a free throw, and it led to DiVincenzo 3-point shot to end the first half. So that sucked to see that happen. Bulls in the third quarter were absolutely just struggling. The Bulls hit 5 threes in the first half. They struggled to hit threes the rest of the game until, honestly, the fourth. And that dug them the hole. Bulls somehow came back, mostly due to Goran Dragic. He came in into that fourth quarter and just sparked the Bulls a little bit. Hit 2 threes back-to-back. We'll see if Dragic is potentially inserted into the starting lineup here on out, or at least getting a little bit more run, because he's one of the few guys that are reliable that can actually shoot the 3-ball, but also put it on the deck and drive on this Bulls team. And I know Dragic is usually in like a playmaking role, but he might have to go into that like catch and shoot role for this team, because he's one of the few guys that can actually make threes consistently. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, Dragic and Green definitely brought the energy tonight. DeMar DeRozan had a horrible game. And I always just find it funny with how Bulls fans kind of, rate or, criticize the stars. I still see people saying that the Bulls lost because Zach LaVine tonight. I don't think Bulls lost because of Zach LaVine tonight. But I'm not seeing much DeRozan, criticism. I think DeRozan deserves a little bit of criticism tonight. He did not have a good game, did not make a shot in the first half, looked pretty lost out there on defense. So I think DeRozan needs some criticism. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not a person that I don't hate on players. I think that's one of the stupidest things to ever do as a sports fan. But I see too much hate always going to some players that don't deserve it. Specifically to either Zach or Vucevic. a lot of the time, when I feel like some other players also deserve some criticism for their poor play that they do. Vucevic had a good game tonight. I liked what I saw from him. The biggest thing for me was that he was hitting his mid-range shot, which I think is actually very important. Obviously, he has some good post-up opportunities and took advantage of the Warriors' lack of size. But the biggest thing for me was that in that pick and roll was with Vucevic having him pick and pop out to the mid-range shot was huge, and he was knocking it down tonight. So that was obviously good. Miles Drummond only playing 5 minutes because he sucked in the first half. First half, he had multiple opportunities to get easy layups, but for some reason botched both of them. And for I don't know what it was. Like he tried to like double clutch every layup, and I'm like, dude, the Warriors don't have anything to really shot block you. And you're going in there and you're not finishing over guys that are basically 6'7" or smaller. So that sucked by Drummond, and I think he got deservedly benched tonight. And with this Warriors team going super small, the Billy Donovan decided to go with Derrick Jones Jr. at center for some stretches of the game, and that was proven to be very effective. So it was a good decision by Billy Donovan at the end of the day. Green was more productive than Patrick Williams. Yes, he was. And I'm a little bit now concerned about Patrick because he had like 9 straight games where I'm like, oh, he looks great. And then tonight, I'm like, oh my god, man, I don't know what to do with you, Patrick. He looked so lost defensively. He had some good moments on offense. He had some good dunks and some good cuts, but defensively, man, that dude was getting back cut all game. And that was straight up inexcusable by Patrick Williams tonight. And of course, like, ever since he made those comments where he's like, I think I'm a superstar, I think I could be a great player, he hasn't performed well. So it's like, I don't know what to do at this point. It just, I was happy to hear those comments, and now his play just looked awful. So I really don't know at the end of the day. Yeah, I saw Magugla, you said that Dragic is also a good passer. That is very true. I think the Bulls actually need his dribble penetration. I would actually look to start Dragic in the next game. That doesn't mean he closes. That doesn't mean he plays, 32 minutes. That just means that he starts the game. Get the Bulls off to a better start. The Bulls can use his dribble penetration inside the paint, whether that's him either shooting the ball, creating the pick and roll, or passing it back out, driving kick-wise. I think the Bulls need his pick and roll penetration in the starting lineup, because clearly that him in the lineup was what the Bulls got back into this game. His play is really good. So I think he needs to start at least. Moving forward, but we'll see what Billy Donovan decides to do. Jordan Poole did drop 30 off the bench, and here's the thing: Jordan Poole in his last, however many games, he came into this game shooting 4 of 25 from 3-point range. So of course, the game he decides to break out of that cold streak is against the Chicago Bulls. So nothing you can really do against that. Honestly, he hit a shot from like 40 feet or something like that. I don't even know what it was. I think it was like 36 feet over Io. That was end of the end of the shot clock. He just chucked it up and it went in. So it's just like, okay, well, it's one of those nights for Jordan Poole. So nothing like that you can stop. So yeah, you like the starting lineup? I think the starting lineup, I think with Green in it, it's a little bit better. I would personally start Dragic right now. I know it's like, well, how the heck do the Bulls defend anybody in the perimeter? I think at the end of the day, you need to ask your stars to start stepping it up on defense, and the only way to do that is to have no good defenders out there, right? Levine, DeRozan, they got to start stepping up on defense. I think Levine's actually been better this season on defense, but DeRozan's been pretty lost. So either way, I still want to see more from Zach and DeRozan on defensive end. Maybe that's what it's going to take by just starting Dragic, who's actually played pretty good defense this season. So I can't be too upset with him starting. Caruso is still going to get his 24 minutes or 28 minutes, even if he's on the bench. So don't worry about Caruso not playing as much. Let's see if Billy has the stones to keep the starting line for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I think he's actually going to roll with this for a little bit. Whether that's at the very least, I think Io and P. Will is going to be on the bench. I thought Io had a pretty good game off the bench, at least to start. He kind of disappeared for the rest of the game, but I also thought that was on Donovan because he kind of took him out early after that good start. So that's that. You thought Dragic was going to be the starter before the season started. I was saying it was Io for the get-go because Io started so many games last season that I thought it was his to lose. And I don't think that him losing his starting job is necessarily his fault. Yes, he shot the 3-ball horribly the last few games. He didn't make a 3 in the last 4 games until tonight. But I think with him, it's that this combination of trying to fit in next to Levine and DeRozan when he's better being an on-ball player has just not worked out for him. So he's kind of being forced into an off-ball role with those two guys out there on the court. Him coming off the bench gives him a little bit more opportunity to be on ball, and we saw him take advantage of it very quickly. He just kind of disappeared down the stretch, so we'll see if he has another good game off the bench moving forward. Back-to-back games. Where Patrick lost. I thought Dragic. Okay, wait. Jordan Poole picked the worst game to go off. Yeah, of course, Jordan Poole picked the worst game to go off. The dude's shooting 31% from 3-point range, by the way, on the season, so he hasn't shot the 3-ball very great, and he decides this game to hit 7 threes, I think. So, very annoying. Took a while to fare on the Warriors' offense. Warriors are, here's the thing with the Warriors, man. They're always going to be great on offense. It's just that they turn the ball over at a very high rate currently. And if that goes down, I think we're looking at this Warriors team as like, oh my goodness, they're back into the being a great team again. Not disappointed in this loss. This game showed the lack of effective 3-point shooters, though. Oh, for sure, Noel. And JJ Redick brought up on the podcast. I think this is just going to be something we're going to be talking about all for the rest of the season. But is what it is. Next game we go against the Kings. Fox is fast and quick, so Alex will probably start next game. We'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if Dragic did start, but it's probably gonna be Caruso because at least the Bulls got off to a better start this time. So maybe it's him. Draymond out of nowhere played like himself at 26. Yeah, Draymond hit the biggest 3 of the game when the Bulls were on a run in the fourth quarter, and the Bulls were within 1 after Zach hit a 3. And then of course he hits that 3 to put the Warriors back up by 4 with less than 2 minutes remaining. And it's like, of all people, like if the fact that the Bulls forced Draymond to shoot the 3 was a win, that's good. Like anybody on the court, you want Draymond to shoot that ball, but of course he makes it. It is what it is. Billy's way too adamant with the pregame plan, and he kind of lacks in coaching based on the situation. Going to be bad in playoffs. Oh yeah, I mean this is what we've been talking about with Billy for the longest time. Is that in game he seems to not exactly know what to do. I will give him credit for a couple things tonight, but I'm also going to really criticize him for a couple things tonight because, first off, just to criticize him, the Bulls got back cut so many times tonight. In the pinch post with Draymond Green, which is just very similar. Like that pinch post Draymond Green, where he's just in the post and he's looking to pass. That's been in the Warriors offense since Steve Kerr got there in 2015. Like I don't know why the Bulls weren't ready for that, but clearly it's either the players weren't aware of it or it was a lack of game planning. And I'm going to argue that it was a lack of game planning because, my God, I just don't understand why the Billy and the staff did not see that coming, because that's been in the Warriors. That's a Warriors staple. Whoever's on the court. So bad job by the coaching staff there. I thought DeRozan probably should have been benched at some point throughout a little bit of tonight's game. Not saying keep him out entirely, but there are just some bad moments with DeRozan that I'm like, man, I mean, I don't know if I can, especially in that first half. I thought he shouldn't have continued to play, at least for a little bit. Obviously, the biggest thing with Donovan was that he kept Levine in with 3 fouls. And I didn't mind that he kept Levine in when he picked up his third. It was that in the last minute when obviously Steph got hit with that 4-point play where he got fouled and the game was stopped, you have to take Levine out then. With like 50 seconds left to go. Like, you have to take Levine out with those 3 fouls. That was just inexcusable by Donovan. The thing that I will give Donovan credit for is this. He took out Drummond when Drummond was being ineffective. He put in Derrick Jones Jr., which was the right decision. I thought the Bulls did a better job in the Steph Curry pick and roll as the game went on. We started to see was the Bulls kind of like soft hedged on him to like show 2 guys so he would pass the ball and get forced to get rid of it. And I thought the Bulls did a good job as the game went on with that. And then obviously in that fourth quarter, we saw Donovan kind of roll with Dragic out there, which was the right decision. So I'll give him credit for that. But still, though, there are too many coaching errors, in my opinion, for Donovan that he should not go unnoticed in this game, because this was one of those games where it's like you can't have any sort of errors. There's no room for errors. And we saw some major errors tonight, unfortunately, by the coaching staff. So, yeah, not good overall by Donovan, in my opinion. He had some good things, but yeah, overall not good. We played really good defense on Steph. Yeah, we overall did. I think the biggest thing is that the Bulls got got the ball out of Steph's hands, so it didn't allow him to shoot that many shots. But we still lost him a little bit too much this game, where he got open for a little too many open looks from three. That's inexcusable still. But overall, a good defensive game, but there are still just those little moments where it's just too inexcusable to lose them. We need more 3-point shooters, or they just work on the 3-point game. Too many bricks. Yeah, obviously, our best 3-point shooters out, Lonzo. Zach has, he started out the year hot from 3. He's suddenly declined. This game he shot okay. He was 3 for 7. So I expect that number to go up for Zach. But the biggest thing is that, yes, this Bulls team just does not have 3-point shooters. And that's the reason why I'm saying that Dragic might have to start being in that catch-and-shoot role a little bit more, because he hit 2 catch-and-shoot threes in the fourth quarter that got the Bulls back into the game. And I'm like, I know he's better as a playmaker, but he might be better on this team as a catch-and-shoot guy. Or at least, a little bit more catch-and-shoot opportunities. Not forcing him to be a catch-and-shoot guy, but, look to catch and shoot a little bit more. I think that help a little bit for this team. And one of the last things I want to talk about on this stream was what Cisco just brought up, which is about this Lakers and Bulls rumors. First off, everything about the Lakers is news, okay? If this was any other team, I do not care who it is. This is not news, all right? What was reported was that the Lakers had internal talks about trading for DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic with their 2 first-round picks, and you would trade Russell Westbrook's contract to match salaries. Yeah, I'm very sure that the Lakers had those discussions, okay? But if you call the Chicago Bulls and you call AK, I guarantee you they're going to hang up the phone. That is a ridiculous and stupid offer. I see Bulls fans that actually think that it's a good offer because they want to tank so bad. First off, you're stupid. Even if you want to tank, taking this offer is one of the worst offers possible. It is a horrible offer because DeMar DeRozan, because he's playing so well, or at least his numbers look like that, and he's coming off a great season, you could get more than just Russell Westbrook and 2 first-round picks for just DeMar DeRozan. If you're putting DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic in a trade, you should at the very least, get 3 first-round picks in return. And at the end of the day, I don't know why people think Westbrook is gonna come in and tank this team, but you should get more than just Russell Westbrook in return, even if you get 3 first-round picks for those 2 guys. That offer is bad for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. Exactly, yeah. And obviously with those 2 guys, both of them are not all-stars, they're very good role players, but DeMar DeRozan is an all-star. Vooch is not an all-star currently, but DeMar DeRozan is. So I don't know why this is even being discussed, but at the end of the day, it's the media, it's Lakers, so we got to talk about it. That's a stupid offer. Now, if that's an offer if the Lakers are like, hey, we'll trade you Anthony Davis for those 2 guys, then I'm starting to consider it, right? But they're not going to do that. I mean, we just saw Anthony Davis put up 44 points tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks. Why would they do that, right? So they're not trading AD for DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic at the end of the day. It's going to obviously be them. That it's going to be the Russell Westbrook 2 first-round picks for DeRozan and Vucevic, which is a stupid idea if you're the Chicago Bulls. All the media cares about is Lakers, and of course that makes the Lakers better. What does it do for the Bulls? And it's they're going to start tanking. I don't care if you think that the Bulls are going to be tanking or not. If the Bulls are tanking and they want to get rid of DeRozan, they better get more than Russell Westbrook and 2 first-round picks in return. That is stupid as hell. And I'm pissed that the media is even putting this everywhere on Twitter and bringing it up in discussions. Now, what Wojnarowski has reported is that the teams are looking to see if LaVine, DeRozan, and Vucevic are going to be available at the trade deadline. And I think we're going to see that Vucevic is going to be very much available at the trade deadline due to his free agency that's about to happen. And the fact that he's on 1-year contract. I think Vucevic is going to definitely be available. What's going to be interesting to see is if LaVine and DeRozan are going to be available. I don't think either of those guys are probably going to be available. We'll see. But if there's anybody that's going to be traded out of those 3 or moved, it's going to be Vucevic, in my opinion. And who knows? Maybe the Bulls don't even move any of those guys. But if anyone's going to get moved, to me, it's going to be Vucevic because of about his soon-to-come free agency, and the Bulls might want to get something in return before he hits free agency, and I think he's leaving, in my opinion. I think Vooch wants to leave because of his, one, he's not going to get paid as much here, but two, I think he wants to be in like a bigger offensive role. And on this team is a third option. On another team, he might be the second or first option. And I think he wants to take on that role again. So we'll see what happens. But I'm seeing that you guys have started talking like, yeah, the offer is better for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. You're seeing how it's a bad offer. I see Cisco said it's gross. Yeah, it's a bad offer for the Bulls. Like, why would they take that offer? Again, even if the Bulls are tanking, if they decide to hit the tank button, why would they take that offer? You take more. You get more for DeRozan. Like Vucevic, in my opinion, should get you a protected first round pick, and some other player to match the salary. That's what Vucevic should get you in return. DeRozan does not get you one first round pick. That is stupid. DeRozan's under contract for this season and next season too. So it's not like DeRozan's a rental. If it was a rental, it'd be a different story. But if you're trading DeRozan this season, he's under contract for next season. So because of that, you're getting at least 2 first round picks in return for DeRozan, even at his age at 33, because he's still averaging 26 points per game. We'll see what's going to happen with the Bulls at the trade deadline. Again, I think the Bulls are going to make a move, in my opinion. We'll see. I'm willing to move Zach with a few draft capital if we get someone like KD. I think anyone would. Noah, I mean, if we're getting KD, I'm willing to trade everybody. I don't care who it is. Just get KD here. That's priority number one. Anybody can go if we're getting Kevin Durant. That's very obvious. But when it comes to something like this, like I'm not trading Zach LaVine for Russell Westbrook and 2 first round picks either. That's also pretty stupid. That's ridiculous. So yeah. KD's age of concern. I'm sure it could be a little bit of concern. He's also not been that healthy the last few seasons. He's missed some time, but at the end of the day, it's a superstar, right? And I don't care how much they're going to be injured. At the very least, they're not Lonzo Ball with their injuries. So if I'm knowing that I'm getting 65 games out of Kevin Durant each season, or at least around there, right? Maybe not exactly that. You take it. But his contract is insane. For Kevin Durant. I don't think Kevin Durant's contract's that insane for Kevin Durant. To be getting $55 million at age 37. I'm gonna say that Kevin Durant's age 37 is gonna be a lot better than a lot of other people's ages 37 seasons. You know. At this point, with the Bulls losing the way they are, they should just put Marco and Dalen Terry in the starting lineup. Maybe they can actually help win in some way. I disagree with that entirely, but I wouldn't mind a lineup shakeup to see if they can start figuring out how to win. I didn't expect the Bulls to win either the Suns or the Warriors game, by the way. So like I'm not sitting here like, oh, this is the end all be all. But yeah, I think KD's more likely to regress. Really? I personally don't, because he came back after the Achilles injury looking just fine. And if he did that, I'm like, hey, you're gonna be playing for a long time. He already doesn't rely on his inside game anymore. Like, he is very much just a mid-range shooter and 3-point shooter at this point in his career. And he's still a phenomenal player. So I personally think that KD is gonna be just fine. He's also a 7-footer, so it helps that with his height, if he starts losing his jumping ability, that he'll be still shooting over everybody at the end of the day. I mean, still, like you just said, if it's Zach LaVine draft capital, yeah, I'm trading Zach in draft capital to get KD. That's not going to get KD here though. That's want more. So I definitely think the KD thing is something to monitor, because the Nets still haven't not played amazing. They're starting to get up there in the NBA standings a little bit, but like they're still not playing great. And I wouldn't be shocked, because that Kyrie's about to, it looks like he's about to leave. That KD might want out of Brooklyn. So who knows? I wouldn't be shocked. But I just don't know what the Brooklyn Nets are going to want at the end of the day. And it might not be this season where KD gets traded. You might have to wait until the offseason. But it's something to monitor, at the very least. Not saying the Bulls are going to be able to get him. I don't know how that's going to work out. But it's just something to keep your eye on as things move forward with KD. I think they're going to try to pair Zach LaVine with Kevin Durant. I mean, I'd hope so. I think that'd be a great option. Honestly, I don't even care if you have to trade Zach and DeRozan to get KD. I'm all for that as well. Obviously, that leaves you with very little things to do after it, so I ideally would not do that. But yeah, I mean, if you're trading DeRozan and draft capital for KD, sure, by all means. But again, why would Brooklyn take that, right? I feel like they'd be more interested in Zach due to his age. So here are the NBA standings currently. I know, again, Bulls fans are going to be like, oh, it's the end of the season. The sky's falling, etc., etc. In my opinion, it's not. I'm personally looking at this and I'm like, hey, Bulls are 3 games out of 5th place. So it's good to be aware of how just how crazy this Bulls schedule is to start the season. MK Hoops had a good little piece here, or kind of said this, but if you just look at how hard the Bulls' schedule is to start the season, like the Bulls had the second hardest schedule to start the season. Our defensive rating is actually pretty solid. Our offensive rating still sucks, but you're looking at this right here where it's like the Bulls actually look okay, like not like statistics wise, where it's like, hey, maybe if the Bulls didn't have this hard of a schedule, we're looking at a over 500 record, right? Obviously, there's been some disappointing games. Spurs loss, Wizards loss, Magic loss, and obviously, most recently, the Oklahoma City loss. Those games, yes, those are disappointing. But it's also good to note that this Bulls team has faced off some against some of the toughest competition to start. And that's the reason why I'm sitting here like, hey, I don't care that we're 9-13. We're 3 games out of 5th. Yes, we may be 12th currently in the standings, but next week we could be in 5th. So I'm not concerned right now. I think the Bulls should win against the Kings, but they're obviously playing very well, so at least make it close. But we'll see how that plays out. Steph Curry is getting iconic pictures taken when playing us last year. Oh, I mean, the Warriors have destroyed the Bulls since 2017. Like, it didn't matter who the team was. It was always the Warriors destroyed the Bulls. Yeah, so at least that didn't happen tonight. It looked like it was heading towards a blowout in the 3rd quarter, but at least the Bulls started off better and made it close to start, and then they kind of put it together in the 4th quarter, but, in the end, it was too short. Can't win when you're down by 17 points at one point during the game. It's hard to do such a thing. Especially when you're down by 17 in the second half. But, a lot of people are talking about the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics to start the season, how like they're off to such a great record. Well, I mean, you look at this right here, man, like they have, an easy schedule to start. I think the Boston Celtics and the Bucks are going to be just fine, and they're going to stay at the top of the East, by the way. I'm not saying that they're going to start falling, but I just think that if they face a tougher schedule to start, I don't think we're looking at this much of separation between the Celtics and then the 2 seed, right? I think we're kind of looking at a little bit of a closer standings in the Eastern Conference because they've had an easier start to the season. It's just straight up as is. So I said that the Bulls have to tread water until December. We're in December now. So now's the time where this Bulls team needs to start getting some games. I would say that they have not tread water. I think they've dipped a little bit below surface level, in my opinion. But, at the end of the day, I'm still not that concerned. If they tread water, I mean, we're looking at, being somewhere around here, right? Which would be a little bit better. But right now we're here. So, again, 3 games out of 5th, or out of 4th. Out of 5th. So, it's time to start winning now. And the numbers would actually say the Bulls would be winning now if they face against easier competition. So, again, not too concerned. Steph Curry's our father. I'm going to agree with Noel on this, that Joel Embiid's our father. Bulls have not won against Joel Embiid in his career. And that is something that needs to get fixed. Like, if you want Aaron Rodgers against the Chicago Bulls, it's Joel Embiid. Pacers and Winston's going to come back down to earth? Yeah, for sure. Uh, I here's the thing. Also, like, I think the Pacers, they're definitely better. By the way, like, I mean, they're a better team, but they're gonna come back down to earth. Wizards. Where even are the Wizards on this? Like, maybe I don't even know where the Wizards are. Um, yeah, I honestly don't know. But am I missing the Wizards? Maybe I'm just blind. But yeah, I think the Wizards are gonna come back down to earth as well. We ain't beat Embiid even once. No, we have not beaten Joel Embiid anytime he has played against the Chicago Bulls. Patrick Williams not playing. What's up, Kenny? Yeah, Patrick Williams has not played well at least the last couple of games or so. That's not good, and I'm not happy. I'll say. I'm very much not happy with how Patrick Williams has played recently. You better figure it out, man. I kind of I wanted this change at least to put Javonte in the starting lineup earlier. It happened now, so we'll see. Shadow Ball should get Sky Pippen Jr. from South Bay Lakers. Who I guess get rid of Tony Bradley. I honestly wouldn't do that move personally. The person I would want to get right now if I'm the Bulls, the Los Angeles Lakers have waived Matt Ryan. Not the quarterback, but the shooter. Bulls need shooting desperately. If I'm waiving Tony Bradley for anybody, it's Matt Ryan. He's a guy that I would want because this Bulls team lacks shooting, and at least I think he can kind of defend. So get as much shooting as possible on this roster. You can do that now. Or I guess you can't do that now because he has to clear waivers. But I would do that quickly if I was AK. But who knows? Knicks could definitely come back down to earth. I think the Knicks are kind of where they should be, honestly. Maybe they get a little bit worse, but they're 10-12 right now. I just expect them to kind of finish just under 500 this season, honestly. Also, did you notice when Billy took out Javonte after his dunk during that comeback run? Yes, I did. I also noticed when Billy took out Ayo Dosunmu early, when Ayo was actually having it going early in the first quarter, he did not start the second quarter for some reason. That did not make much sense. He started Caruso instead. I feel like that shifted the flow of the game. I think the biggest shift was there was 2 plays by the Warriors where it was a double screen, and the Bulls twice did not play it correctly, and it led to a Klay Thompson 3-point shot, which opened up the lead again. And the second time, it led to I think a Kevon or a Steph Curry layup. I think that was honestly the shift, but it definitely kind of hurt that Javonte wasn't out there. I will say that, but to me, the biggest shift was that there was 2 defensive breakdowns when the Bulls were making that comeback run, and that was those 2 plays, which it absolutely sucked to see. Maybe I can pull it up in a second here, but we can talk about that for a little bit. But yeah, that wasn't good. But kind of what you guys were saying. Wizards, they're under 500, and then the Pacers are 10-12 or 12-10. I think they're also going to start coming back down to earth. They've lost their last 2. So we'll see how that goes. But again, I still think, like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, there's plenty of room for this Bulls team to get in. Like, who knows, man? The Atlanta Hawks could be all of a sudden out of the playoffs or below the 10th seed in 2 weeks, right? So this is still a very tight Eastern Conference. I'm not worried, honestly. Yes, this Bulls team has underperformed to start the season for sure. I'm not excusing that, but they have plenty of time to make this up. New York Knicks should take Matt Bradley, and Chicago Bulls should take Scottie Pippen Jr. Chicago Bulls is the ticket. What? Atlanta's a weird team. They're doing really well in the beginning. Yeah, and then they had a loss to Houston Rockets too. So yeah, I don't know what Atlanta is either. Yeah. Like the team felt complete early on. Yeah, they definitely did. I apologize, my camera's lagging again. Alright, I apologize about that. Should be back to normal. John Collins, though, yeah. I don't know, man. The Atlanta Hawks are kind of just sitting here, and, like, did I expect them to get better from last season? Yeah. But I just don't know what exactly they are. So we'll see what they actually become here. I'm always gonna point out to DeAndre Hunter, who's had like an okay season, but like I feel like this dude has not taken that step, which I think the Hawks thought he would have after getting paid well. And then it's weird seeing Bogdanovich, like, or I mean, he's only played one game, obviously, but like it's weird to see him not out there, so that obviously hurts. Yeah. So who knows? I honestly don't know. John Collins is not playing well, as Bob pointed out. Yeah, it's a weird spot right now for Atlanta, and we'll see how they figure it out from here going forward. But it's mostly, to me, it's like it's Trae Young, it's DeJounte Murray, and that's it. That's your Atlanta Hawks team. Do the Bulls look at John Collins? In my opinion, no. I think he's not a good defender, and he clearly can't shoot the ball. I'm also looking at him like, can he play center? And I don't think he can play center because he doesn't want to play center. So I wouldn't take on his contract just to have a bad season, honestly. Kenny, why do you? I'm trying to understand why you want Scottie Pippen Jr. so bad to the Bulls. I understand it's Scottie Pippen's son, but like I don't see him helping this Bulls team very quickly at all. I feel like if anything, he's just gonna go right to the G League. There's a guy in this year's draft class who's a good three-point shooter that I feel like Bulls might target. Go ahead and name it, Noel. I'm willing to listen. Just saying, like, one of the guys I thought the Bulls might draft in this past year's draft class instead of Dalen Terry was Ochai Agbaji, who went to the Cavs so just before Dalen Terry was picked. Like, that's a three-point shooter, right? And I thought the Bulls could have gotten him, obviously, but he went right before the Bulls picked, so... Maybe the Bulls can find some shooting in the draft. That's definitely something that they can do. Sentimental players won't help us. Yeah, I don't think they're Scottie Pippen Jr. is not going to help us, man. I hope he has a good career. But I don't think he's going to help us. And if that's the case, let's call him Marcus Jordan. Yeah. Yeah. No thanks. Yeah. Definitely not going to do that. Where is this? I want to actually see where is this Atlanta team currently ranked in terms of their their defensive rating, because I feel like this is something we're always just gonna be looking at with Atlanta. Like, they can score, but like what's their defensive rating so far this season? Oh, it's actually going. Oh, so they're flipped. So the offense is actually kind of struggling. Their defense has actually played pretty well. So who knows? Maybe they actually get better. Now that I think about it. What's crazy to see is this right here, though. Like, why is Atlanta in the bottom, like literally the last team in 3-point field goals made? That makes no sense to me. Like, the Bulls might not address this issue in this season because of that focus. What are you saying, Noel? I'm trying to follow you. Scottie Pippen's going to have a great career overseas. Even Washington, nothing wrong with that. He can play against Dwight Howard. I think Scottie Pippen Jr. could potentially get to the NBA at some point, but it's going to be in a very limited role. He's never going to be a good, like one of those better players, you know. And I feel like he's going to be spending a lot of time in G League, so it might be in his best interest to go overseas. Honestly, I wouldn't mind that for him, but who knows? So yeah, this right here, this doesn't make much sense to me if I'm Atlanta. Obviously, you know, John Collins not shooting threes very well. It doesn't help. But this is an Atlanta team that kind of, you know, they're supposed to be good from three. At least how they're structured. Trae Young is obviously a part of that, but even like take away Trae Young, I feel like this team should be better from 3-point range. And so far they're not. See a lot of guys like so John Collins shooting 22%. Trae Young shooting 30% to start the season, but that's going to go up, so who knows? Like, the Bulls might delay addressing the 3-point shooting need by waiting until the draft class. Okay, I see what you're saying now, but I don't think the Bulls would act that way, honestly. I feel like the Bulls, again, this is what I've been saying. Like, I think they're aware of this team having a lack of 3-point shooting from last season. They try to address it. They try to get Danilo Gallinari. That didn't happen, right? They didn't get him, okay? But I also just think that this Bulls front office was like, hey, we're just accumulating talent right now, from last season, and then seeing what else does this team need, right? Who needs to stay, who needs to go? I don't think they're exactly worried too much about the supporting cast and the 3-point shooting with this team. So I just think overall, like, this Bulls team, this Bulls front office is like, they're aware of this, but like, I don't see them looking only to the draft class to address the 3-point shooting need. I think that they're gonna start looking, like, when they, in my opinion, it's a matter of when this big three core is broken up. They're gonna start looking at adding more 3-point shooting from, whoever they get back in return from moving the core. So who knows, man? I don't really know. And again, the Bulls aren't guaranteed a pick this season, obviously. Their pick goes to the Magic unless it's top 4, and then the Portland pick is only going to the Bulls if it's not in the lottery. And yes, Portland has had an okay start to the season, but Damian Lillard has been out recently, and Portland's kind of slipped a bit. So the Bulls aren't guaranteed a pick, so they can't be saying, "Hey, we're going to address the shooting needs in the draft." They just can't do that. So I don't think that this Bulls front office is thinking, "Hey, we're addressing our shooting needs in the draft class." I think personally that the way that they look at the draft is, we're drafting the guy that we think has the best potential, and they've done that the past 3 seasons, right? Patrick Williams. Like, we all see the potential in him. Obviously, the mentality part is the question. Io, he's a proven defender, can do a lot of other things as well. He is not a consistent 3-point shooter, but they think that's something that they can address later with Io, and I think that's something that's going to come to Io later. But they see that he can be a good 2-way player. Dalen Terry, same thing. Great defensively, good playmaker. Is a great passer, has some skills with the dribble, right? But the biggest thing is that, hey, this dude has potential to be a good 2-way player, and if he gets his 3-point shot, we're looking at a very good player. So that's the reason why I'm not like looking at the draft as a place where they address team needs. I never would draft, if I was a GM, I would never draft off need. If I was drafting, I would always draft off best player available. That's how I would do things, at least, because let's say if you're drafting off need and you had a shooting guard, aka the Portland Trailblazers back in 1984, they're like, hey, we don't need Michael Jordan. We don't need him. We have a shooting guard already. Let's draft Sam Bowie. Well, you see what happens, right? Michael Jordan, to me, looked better than Sam Bowie coming out of college, or at least, coming into the draft. So, in my opinion, you just draft best available. I think the Bulls have done that, and I'm not upset at that. In the end, maybe you can come to them, maybe like Derek Fisher type player, even Seth Curry, Austin Rivers, something like that. Something like that, Lot Mob, and I'd say maybe even something worse than that. Yeah, I think AK trusts too much on Lonzo for 3-point shooting. Is that his fault though? Like, no, well, we've had this conversation, right? This Bulls roster came in, like, when AK put this Bulls roster together, okay, we're looking at 3 players that shoot close to at least 40% from 3-point range, right? And this was at the time when this roster was being made, okay? You had 3 guys that were supposed to shoot well for 3-point range in the starting lineup at the very least, okay? Maybe not on the bench, but I mean, I'm always going to point out this, like, Vucevic shot 40% with Orlando, shot 39% when he got here, okay? And then, obviously, last season was awful. Lonzo came in, shooting 38%. He shot 42% last season. And then Zach, the season prior, was shooting 42%, shot 39% last season. This would have been higher if he didn't get injured. And then, obviously, this season, he sucked to start. Or at least, he started out well, but recently he's been bad. Like, this is what I keep saying. Like, I think that this Bulls front office, they built a team that had 3-point shooting, but Vucevic completely just fell off a cliff. Zach, was stable for last season, but then obviously injuries hurt him. But then injuries just look like it's still hurting him. And then the other person was Lonzo Ball, and that dude has not played in a year. So, how much can I blame the front office when we had 3 guys that were projected to at least be 38% 3-point shooters coming into the season or coming to the Bulls, right? I don't know how much I can blame the front office. And then obviously, Lonzo being out hurts. Zach, not shooting well right now hurts. And then Vooch lost his 3-point touch. It hurts. So, I understand that we're going to continue saying, hey, this Bulls team does not have 3-point shooting. And I will agree that even with Lonzo Ball last season, that the Bulls didn't have enough 3-point shooting. But I can't be too upset at the front office because they had guys that they're looking at okay, this person's supposed to shoot 38%. This person 38%. This person 38%. And none of that has happened except for, I guess, Zach. For at least most of the season, Marko Simonovic needs to get a call for the Windy City Bulls. He's a milkman. I disagree. I would keep Marko down there. He is not NBA ready, and I don't know if he'll ever be NBA ready. I understood the pick, honestly. I think, draft and stash, he could work on his game. He's very young, very raw. Try to, build him up. I would have liked to assign him to a 2-way contract instead of an actual NBA contract, but I also understand that it might have been tough to even get him over here. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I hope Marko becomes something at least. I mean, if he becomes an actual role player in his time, that's value. You drafted well, but the way that Marko's playing, at least against NBA competition, doesn't look good. And I don't know if he can play the 5. I think he has to be a 4. So I don't know. I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Marko so far, but that's limited time, and hopefully he can figure it out soon. What if the Bulls said we got Ben Gordon and Kirk Hinrich, we don't need Derrick Rose, let's draft Michael Beasley? Yeah. that proves my point with drafting best player available. I don't care who you have in the roster. You draft the best player available. Reggie Miller always says it. If you have a shooting guard and you have a good small forward, you still draft Michael Jordan and you play Michael Jordan at center because you'll figure it out eventually that, hey, this is the better player. This is something that the Denver Nuggets did before they got Jokic. The Denver Nuggets had so many centers on their roster. I think back to Mozgov, Yusuf Nurkic. They had even more guys than that. And Nikola Jokic was still, on that team. And they figured it out. Hey, we're going to trade Yusuf Nurkic to the Portland Trailblazers, get returned back because Nikola Jokic is here and he's the better player. That's what you do. I don't care who you have on the team. So you see what I mean, Noel? Yeah. So let's just look at this for just starters, right? I don't know what's going to happen this season. I don't know who's going to be available. I know Cam Reddish is someone that I'm always looking at. He helps the shooting drastically with this team. But why would the Knicks trade him? What are the Bulls going to be willing to give up, right? So at the very least, let's start with this, right? Let's start with next offseason. The Bulls, I don't think they're going to have much available to them. They'll have their biannual exception at the very least, but due to the Ayo Dosunmu situation, they may not have a mid-level exception. So I don't know what's exactly going to be available to them. Let's just go with forwards to start, unrestricted. Let's just see who's available, right? And we have to get closer down to here, right? So Jay Crowder is going to be available. He's not exactly the most consistent 3-point shooter, but he's a guy that they could look at. Georges Niang is also a very good 3-point shooter in Philly currently. That's one guy to look at. Not a lot at the forward position though. Kevin Love's not gonna come here. Harrison Barnes is gonna be paid too much. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of options. And here's the thing, guys. It's widely known in the NBA that it is hard to find guys that are good, great 3-point shooters, but also good defenders, right? Hence why Lonzo Ball got paid $20 million. Okay, it's hard to find those guys. So, even like looking at this, for example, it's like, well, who's out there? There's no one that's exactly like enticing. Joe Ingles is old, right? Justin Holiday's kind of getting up there in age, and he's also not the most consistent 3-point shooter. Torrey Craig, good defender, not a consistent 3-point shooter. Jeff Green, old. Justice Winslow, I can't trust him. The one person I'm looking at is like Georges Niang could help immediately with 3-point shooting and kind of a good defender, not a great defender. Saric is not playing currently. Taj Gibson, I love him, but he's older. Markieff Morris might be a guy, but I don't even know is he even on an NBA team currently? I mean, oh, he's on Brooklyn. Okay, never mind. Of course, Duncan. Yeah, there's not a lot of guys. Trey Lyles might be a guy I'd look at if you want something for the cheaper end, right? But not a lot of options immediately when you just kind of looking at that, right? Josh Richardson's the guy that is unfortunately let's just look at Josh Richardson's stats. I like Josh Richardson, but I feel like his 3-point shooting is not consistent anymore. Well, I guess last season he actually shot it pretty well, so maybe that's a guy that they look to go get. Dylan Brooks is not going to take a very cheap contract. Danny Green is getting older. Kemba Walker just got signed, and then of course the Mavs GM is like, "Hey, we don't know about this signing because his knee looks bad." So Seth Curry would be a guy I'd look at personally. Not the greatest defender, but he works, right? So maybe get Seth Curry, less than $8 million. Maybe you can sign him to the biannual exception, which would be about $5 million. I take it, right? At least that's a start to the 3-point shooting issue. Marco is a project, speaking of which, I think that the Wembanyama experiment, his name is the science one, who's going to fall. I don't expect the hype. I see his game, his knees will be done inside of 3 seasons. No way his body will last in the NBA. Wish him the best, but I don't see it working out for him. Okay, so here's my only thing that I'll say against that, Lot Mob. We've seen Kevin Durant last in the NBA for a very long time. I understand that Wembanyama is 7'4", but Kevin Durant's a 7-footer. And I think with Wembanyama, he's not going to be playing inside. He's going to be more on the perimeter, at least to start his career. If we're having doubts about him, I would have doubts about Chet Holmgren then as well. And I personally don't have any doubts about Chet. So I personally think Wembanyama is going to be just fine. I'm aware though that a 7-footer, or at least a guy that's over 7'3" or 7'3" or taller, they've always had knee issues. They've always had it. Kristaps Porzingis, just look at him. So I'm aware of that history. Maybe you have something there, but I just think overall that we might look at a guy that's probably a little bit better. He's going to stay a little bit more on the thinner side. And if that's not going to put as much pressure on his knees, and that's going to help him stay longer in the NBA, in my opinion. But you could be right that history might just repeat itself with, a 7'3" guy or taller has just not lasted very long in the NBA. Kristaps Porzingis, Boban's another guy. If I'm correct about his height, and he's had knee issues too. And then obviously the one that we kind of always look at is Yao Ming. He also had knee issues, but he was older coming into the NBA. So, history is not on his side, but I just think that because he's going to be more perimeter oriented and not be a big man, I think he's going to be looking a little bit better. And at the end of the day, Kristaps has still played a very long time in his career. So who knows? I understand the concern, but I've seen too many other prospects, Zion, for example, with his weight, Chet Holmgren with his skinny body, like they've had all these, questions about him, and I'm like, I think they're gonna be just fine. They'll figure it out, right? So at least that's my opinion. But yeah, we'll eventually see. I definitely think that injuries will be something to watch with Wembanyama. I personally, though, I would, if I had the first overall pick, even with that concern about his height and injuries, I'm still taking him. I personally do not care about that. That's a generational talent I'm looking at. So that's what I would do, at least. Love to see him play for a decade. Yeah, just like we all would love to see all these guys, but guys like Greg Oden happen. It happens. At the end of the day. I'm personally like, when I look at small guards, that's where I always get concerned. I'm always saying this about Ja. I don't think Ja is going to fall off a cliff, but I think Ja Morant's peak is now. I just think that he's going to start dipping as his years go on because he's a small dude. And we've seen before that small guards, they don't last very long. Like, their peak doesn't last forever. Like, it lasts and it goes quick. Like, they reach it quick and then it goes quick. So, if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm not taking my time with Ja. I am going to get that guy now to pair alongside him. But, they're taking their time in Memphis, and hopefully it works out for them. But I'm nervous about the Memphis Grizzlies not taking advantage of Ja Morant's MVP type play when they had it. Steve Francis, Baron Davis, right? Even Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is 6'3". Like, we see what happened to him, and obviously injuries derailed him. But those short guards, they get hit harder. Like, they take more of a beating. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it all the time. Like, I even go to a guy like AI. Like, Allen Iverson in his peak, he was phenomenal, but then you saw down the stretch of his career that it just went like this. And that's a 6 foot, 160-pound guard that's doing that, right? So, yeah, it always just makes me a little bit scared. I feel like offensively, Wembanyama is going to be more dominant than KD, but defensively, I'm wondering how much of a toll it's going to be on him. I agree with that statement. Yes, I do think that offensively, he looks to be phenomenal. I'm looking at him as he has the steps as long as Giannis, but then can also shoot like Kevin Durant. Like, offensively, it's like, oh my god, like, he might be great, but yeah, defensively with him, challenging shots, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for him to start. All right. Last thoughts, though, on this Bulls game. I just want to say this. Again, I'm not too concerned. I give the Bulls a lot of credit for fighting back in this one. But we as Bulls fans know it. I'm sure the front office knows it. I understand that Bulls fans want change now when it comes to 3-point shooting, but at the end of the day, a lot of guys, they can't be moved until December 15th. So there's no reason to even start thinking okay, let's make a move now. The one move I can see made now to address 3-point shooting is signing Matt Ryan. Waive Tony Bradley, sign Matt Ryan. The Bulls can do that. So that's the one move I see that can happen now. Again, that's a guy not on a team currently. And there's no free agent that, to me, is worth it. At this moment. Besides obviously Matt Ryan, but he has clear waivers. For the Bulls to start making changes, we have to wait till December 15th because that's when all the free agents that were signed in the offseason become available. And that's when the team has a little bit more operating room to start looking at some trades. I just personally would not be shocked if Vucevic is moved this season for a forward shooter and a protected first-round pick. That's just what I personally can see. Because you take away the center position where it's he probably shouldn't be shooting threes anyway. Put in Drummond, who should be in the paint more, and then you get a little bit more spacing on the perimeter. That's what I would see. And as a dog, he was 6'10", 285-pound monster, and a 6'1", 150-pound body. Yep. Carmelo Anthony, no, not for me. I don't think his shooting would help. Also age, that's also a thing. Sorry, man. I'm upset at my camera right now. I looked into why it was freezing after a couple streams ago. The past stream I thought was okay. This stream it's not. It's freezing in some moments. But yeah, those guys that have the playstyle that are under 6'3" or 6'3" and under, their flames burn bright but goes out fast. That playstyle, yeah. Opinion on Bucks versus Lakers game today, and LeBron passing Magic Johnson assists an all-time in that game too. So I did not watch that game, unfortunately, but I did catch the end of it. Bucks had their chances. Westbrook missed 2 free throws. Drew Holiday just missed his 3-point shot at the end, so that kind of sucks for them. But I mean, this is the reason why, guys. I understand Maybe it was La Mob that said it, or maybe it was Unstoppable that said it in this chat. Like, I understand why AD is a concern, but like if the Bulls are ever offered Anthony Davis, like I probably wouldn't trade Zach for him. Like maybe I would if it's straight up, but like if DeMar DeRozan, if the Lakers are like, hey, we'll take DeRozan for Anthony Davis or whatever, or however the hell the Bulls get him, like I'm doing it because we saw tonight that Anthony Davis can still play a superstar level, right? That was insane. Yeah, that was you, Lama. Okay, yeah. So I understand AD has injury concern, but like I'm willing to take that chance. I just always think like Kevin Durant has recently had injury issues, but like I'm still taking KD. I don't care that he's been injured. I understand that injuries suck, and it's ideally the superstar wouldn't be injured, but I'm taking that superstar no matter what. Obviously, if they miss the entire season, that's a completely different story. But we're seeing Anthony Davis playing now, and I'm like, hey man, I mean it's worth it. But for the Lakers and Bucks, this is a little shocking because Chris Middleton did return tonight, and I was like, okay, you know, the Bucks should have had that one easily, but then you know, Anthony Davis happened. Now, crazy thing is that Giannis also went off for 40. And the Bucks didn't win. So it seemed to me that no one played any defense in that game. I'm definitely gonna watch the highlights of that one because that's an insane game and probably the game of the season. But I also heard that Boston versus Miami was the game of the season. So I want to go watch those two games because you know that's gonna be good. And shocked that Miami won that, but Jimmy G Buckets hit some clutch shots. It looks like. To help that one. My only problem with the AD is I'm wondering, can we get 60 games and full playoff run with it? If we can get that, I'm good with it. Yeah. If AD is playing at this level, highly doubt Lakers selling him for anything. Yeah, the Lakers are not selling him. I'm just saying that if for some reason that he is offered to the Bulls, I'm taking him. Because most of those games are going to be superstar level play. Yeah, and to me, it's always that should be the target for any player right now because of how injuries go. It should be 60 to 65 games. That's the reason why, you know, Zach missing some time early to start the season. I wasn't really too concerned because to me, he's gonna play around 60 to 65 games at the end of the day. So yeah, I think with just AD, like I understand last year was so bad, and his jump shot last season was just one of the worst we've ever seen. But I know that there's a superstar in him, and we're seeing it recently. So yes, injuries are a concern, but I'm personally taking that risk. Trade Drummond, Levine, Tony Bradley for AD. I would. Lakers are not accepting that offer. AD is the Lakers' best player, period. Oh, for sure. I mean, I thought AD should have been the best player like a couple of seasons ago, honestly. Last season. Like, AD should have been the best player in the Lakers last season. But, you know, injuries obviously hurt, but when he was playing, he wasn't. Like, LeBron's time as the best player is definitely over on that Lakers team. So, AD needs to step up, and guess what? He's taken it upon himself recently to step up, and that's good to see. So, he's doing his job, at least. Lakers, I think this is the best Lakers win of the season in the end. So congrats to them. They still have a 9-12 record when I don't think they should. So similar to the Bulls, I guess. But I mean, good job by them. What I'm interested to see though is like, how do the Bucks defend AD? Was Giannis on him like he should have been on him, or was, you know, Brook Lopez and other guys defending him? So that's my one thing I'm looking at. But yeah, just honestly crazy, kind of crazy to see. Looks like the Bucks did not get much from their bench tonight. It was Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton, the only two guys to score. They put in 23 points, but no points from Javon Carter, George Hill, or Wesley Matthews. That is not good. I know the Bucks have been kind of looking for like another, you know, starting shooting guard in a sense. like Grayson Allen isn't enough, and we as Bulls fans hate Grayson Allen. Wesley Matthews just isn't consistent enough, and Javon Carter can't shoot the ball consistent enough. So that's a team that I'm looking at as like, oh, they're looking to get the next guy. So yeah, yep, 80 is the number one. Yep, and he's playing like that recently. So I'm happy to see that from 80. All right, I apologize, but the camera freezes. Hello. Okay. We're back to real time now. I don't know why that keeps happening. I might lower the bitrate next stream, by the way. We'll see about that. All right. So I said short stream. I'm gonna end it here, guys. I appreciate you guys coming out late at night. You watched the game and you came to hear my analysis on this one. So I appreciate that a lot. If you have not already, I appreciate if you hit that like button on the stream. It helps me out a lot. Helps the channel out a lot as well. And then hit that subscribe button. I want to continue to growing in subscribers. Kind of stalled recently, probably my fault due to lack of videos, but I'm having a lot of fun streaming. So I'm looking at continue streaming more. But I hope to continue to grow the community as we continue to stream. But again, thank you guys so much for coming out. I really, really appreciate you guys coming out and making these streams fun and everything. But last thing before you go, here's the link to my Twitter account. If you're new to the channel and have not followed me on Twitter, here is that link. Go follow me on Twitter to find any sort of live analysis on the Bulls games when it's currently happening. I watch every single Bulls game, so go ahead and do that. But thank you guys again so much for coming out. I'll see y'all in the next one. Hopefully the Bulls get a win in Sacramento on Sunday. Peace.
Yeah, they tell you that you should quit trying. You were too small, that you were too young. They tell you the chance is too slim, the world is too big, but you say how come? I'm ready to light a new fire, raise a new flag, to cross a new sea. And if I'm ever the one in your way, then put your head down and run right through me. I keep settling for so much less. Don't take